never want to leverage my personal life to be like entertaining for people, but I have noticed that like me being honest about who I am and my life is the powerful thing that is influential on other people. So it is winter of 2021, which means we're a year into a global pandemic. Never thought I would be saying that. I think it caught everyone off guard and changed everyone's lives, which has been hard and sad in a lot of ways, yet at the same time, really good, I think. And I've heard a lot of people talk about the good things that have happened this year, kind of in the midst of not so good things. And that's been true for us. Brought a lot of clarity. It slowed us way down. I didn't know how badly I needed to slow down. I already had all the songs for this record, or most of them, before the 2020 began. But then out of nowhere, everything we had planned disappeared from our calendar, and I got the time and room in my schedule and life, and really the presence of mind and clarity of mind to dive into recording this. So we spent all of last year recording this record. This one is different because it really is very specifically songs about me. The good and bad, just the ebbs and flows of my personality, just really being able to face that honestly. Like any great painter or photographer, there's plenty of mediums where people have a self-portrait, and so this is absolutely my self-portrait. I wasn't even really trying to write for this project, but it was like as if the songs were like right at the surface. Every time I would just sit down and try to like play something, I guess my feelings, whatever it was just like right there. It's very easy for these songs to come out. Eventually I was like, what is it that made that the case? I turned 30 a couple years ago, and that was really a marker for me to go like, okay, for most of my 20s, I did not know who I was. I was like really trying to figure that out, really trying to fit in a lot of boxes and realize, okay, I don't really do that well. That gives me no joy at all, and I don't want to do that anymore, whatever. And I've like took a lot of different shapes. I think we all do, kind of figuring out who we are. And then I think 30 was just a good marker of like, man, I know at least a little bit more of who I am, or if not that, then I just don't care as much about being whatever the other versions that I was trying to be. The other like major thing that I feel like brought these songs to be was getting married. Getting married, there's really a version of myself. It's the truest version of me I've ever seen, where it's just like all my guards are down and I really am completely myself with Kyle. And I think that's a really great thing. And then kind of on the flip side, like he has gotten the brunt of things, or I've even done stuff that I've just been like, where did that come from? And this thing in me that I didn't know was there, like just came flying out. And in the bridge of my song Grace and Mercy is like, if there's anything that kind of has summed up what my heart kind of ends up landing at, it's the words in that bridge, which is, I'd like to think that I'm older now, and surely I must have grown out of this. I'd like to find some higher ground, but what a sad life to live without grace and mercy. And just how like even the worst parts of who I am, the things that I wish I would grow out of and kind of become someone who doesn't need anything from anyone, or has no flaws. Like all of us, I think we want to evolve to being something like that, but it's actually incredibly sad and an empty life to not have the joy of someone giving you forgiveness and grace and mercy. So just kind of facing all of that musically in these songs. I've done 2 records up until this point, always with a producer. I've helped and co-produced everything up until now, but always had that someone else in the driver's seat. So entering this one, since it's like a self-portrait album, I decided to produce this myself and be in the driver's seat, make all the calls, all of that. this is me kind of like stepping up and really taking responsibility for being a woman producer, because there's like the number of women in that field, it's really, really small. And so really just feeling the responsibility of like, yeah, like step up, don't cut corners, like become a pro at production. So since I didn't have anyone helping me produce it, it felt very, very important to have like a really good team around me. I mean, first of all, I have to shout out Kyle, because he's really the only person who's ever up late at night with me, like co-producer role. Like he's helped kind of keep carrying things, you know, over the finish line for this project. So Will Sales on drums, Tyler Burkham is playing guitar, Kyle is playing guitar on a bunch of the songs. Okay, like we have really great girls that I want to shout out that helped with the record. On bass is Cassie Campbell, and then on strings is Elisa Cox. I think it's really cool too, because a lot of people, including those girls, recorded from home. In the middle of a pandemic, actually everyone's stuck at home. So I was just like, hey, will you play for this record? And like 100% everybody was like, oh yeah, absolutely. So it was kind of cool, because I think there's a lot of people who would have been too busy to work on this, that because everyone was home alone, they just like tracked stuff and sent it over. So pretty happy that the technology is there where we could even do that kind of thing. The very last song on the album is called Nobody Knows. And it's a really personal one for me. I can tell all the facets of my personality, but like, what a shame if I didn't tell the deeper thing of my life, which is every time I've been in a pit, some hand has been reached out to me for me to get out of it. And, you know, I'd like to think that's available to everyone. I can't say. All I can say is my own life, the worst times, for whatever reason, whether it was like God, metaphorically, a hand reached out, or literal friend to help me get out of whatever I had got myself into. And we had this idea to film the kindness video in this old rundown high school. And we found this gymnasium that had this just massive opening. I mean, it was just like, the whole thing has probably not been used in 20 or 30 years. It's at the beach, so all the windows are blown out and salt air has just gone all the way through this big old building, and it's just, I mean, totally falling apart on the inside, and graffitied on the inside of it is "Baby Take My Hand." And I was like, man, if there's any like beautifully simple phrase to sum up my life, to sum up this project, it's really that, "Baby Take My Hand." There's a trend to my music that it often is actually talking about incredibly deep things, but I'm trying to go about it in a way that goes down easy, I guess. And so like, that's what I love about that phrase, is like, actually what I'm talking about is like God redeeming me from like terrible mistakes and getting me out of that. But like, "Baby Take My Hand" is such a casual and lighthearted way to say that. So I did a personal challenge through basically this entire project. I decided not to do my hair or wear makeup. It was hard to like stick with that. I wanted to go back on that a lot of times. But the reason was like, if I'm going to bare all and be really vulnerable and honest about who I am on the inside, like, can I do the same thing on the outside? It is almost harder to not wear makeup than to tell everyone about my issues that I've faced, like on the inside or relationally. Like, why is that? It's so interesting. This is literally my face. This is what I look like, you know? Which has been challenging, because everything anyone's seen of me to this point, I look a certain way. And in some ways I look different on this stuff because I have no makeup on. It's not really for anyone else other than me learning to get over that and be willing to like present myself as I truly am. And I plan to wear makeup from here on out because I do. But it's more of like it doesn't have a hold on me and I don't feel like I have to. I don't want to be so naive to think I don't still have a lot to work through. I think what makes it easier and makes it possible that I can start sharing it is the work that I've done. being able to come to the realization, like, you are who you are. You have the voice that you have, like, whether you want it or not. You have the face that you have, whether you want it or not. You have the personality that you have. Being able to have the grief over that whole thing, watch the scales, like, and the cloudiness fall off my eyes and just go like, but I am this and I am that, and I can be proud of that. So I feel like I've been in this long journey of like internally doing that. So it's made me much more able to actually tell, like, to testify of the freedom that that's brought me. If there's anything that I would want people to get out of this, is to maybe start their own journey or continue their own journey of like facing who they really are, being able to look it square in the face and like be proud of who they are and humble about what they aren't or wish they were, and not afraid of it. That would be the journey that I've been on, I guess, and in trying to share through this project.